And as I'm duly swamped, I shall leave you to read it in solitude.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're unpacking the wild ride that was the finale of Season 2 of Severance. Please make the necessary preparations for key plot information to be revealed imminently. Sorry, spoilers ahead. Now let's get into it.
Shorter.
I'm sorry.
The background. Whether you've been watching each episode on Thursday night with your clipboard out, sidebar, why is Apple TV Plus telling us it airs on Fridays? Have we not been patient enough?
The work is mysterious and important, and we deal with the uncertainty it brings us in the way that Kier would have wanted.
Or if you're just trying to figure out what the hell this show is about so you can talk about it with your weird coworker on Monday, we've got you covered. We are the weird coworker.
This is inappropriate workplace commentary, and I'm self-reporting you.
You're reporting me to yourself.
Okay.
A quick recap for context. Severance follows Mark Scout, a recently widowed man who works at the mysterious Lumon Corporation as a severed employee.
Each category of numbers presents in such an order as to elicit an emotional response in the refiner.
Meaning, when he walks into work each morning, his consciousness flips a switch and he becomes innie Mark, who has no memory of his outside self, and vice versa. We know that much, right? All right, let's fast forward.
Doesn't make sense till you see it, and it takes a while to see.
So Mark works in the macro data refinement department, known as MDR, and up until right now, we had absolutely no idea what that meant or what his job even was. But we'll get there. Mark works in MDR with Irving B, Dylan G, and Helly R, the latter of whom, by the end of Season 1, becomes romantically entangled with Mark.
In case we don't come back.
Ooh la la. But not really, because we also learned that Helly R's Audi is Helena Egan, the daughter of the CEO of Lumon.
Because of you, they'll all be Kier's children.
Love triangle? Square? Again, we'll get there. Over the course of Season 1, we learned what is arguably the most shocking and important piece of information of all.
When the night is new, I'll be looking at the moon.
Mark's Audi's allegedly deceased wife Gemma is alive at Lumon and has been working on the severed floor with her husband, but they have no memory of one another.
You're both unhurt.
We are.
I'm glad. I was scared.
Sorry?
I forgive you.
In the Season 1 finale, our 4 MDR legends managed to override their severance chips and come to while on the outside as a way to communicate the woes of innie life to the world.
She's alive!
At this point, Mark realizes what we as the audience have already known to be true. And that's a wrap on Season 1. Cue the 3-year hiatus.
Could I just...
I'm sorry. I just have so much to do today. On you go.
Season 2. Alright, that wasn't so bad. Now we can't explain this ending without explaining the beforing. Oh, beginning. Sure, that too. Season 2 kicks off with Mark returning to work, frantically searching for Gemma, whom he knows as Miss Casey. His 3 friends have been fired and replaced, but Mark pleads to the Lumon board to bring them back, and they oblige.
They made quite a splash!
They sure did, Water Tower. And I thank Kier for them.
We come to learn that the file he's currently completing, Cold Harbor, is of the utmost importance to the company. And the world, apparently. So Lumon wants Mark happy. Once the Core 4 is reunited, they share their stories from the outside with one another. But with a notable exception. Helly withholds that she's an Egan, instead telling a fictional story about a night gardener.
A gardener?
Yeah,
A night gardener?
I think so. Maybe he has a different job during the day.
Huh.
Surely this does not have dubious implications. On the outside, Mark decides he's willing to go to any lengths necessary to bring Gemma back. He reunites with alleged former Lumon surgeon Ragabi, she stalks him, and agrees to let her reintegrate him, which would fuse his innie and outie self into one.
Where were you born?
I'm not sure.
What month is it?
You mean what quarter?
Reintegration? You mean the thing that killed my very good friend Petey? What the hell, sure.
I'm at Lumon. What?
During a calamitous Ortbo, or outdoor retreat and team building occurrence, Irving clocks Helly as being Helena, gasp, and threatens to drown her unless Mr. Milchick brings her back.
She's not Helly! She's an Egan! Turn her back, Mr. Milchick! Turn her back!
God damn it, stop doing!
Yes!
He does, but immediately kills Irving in retribution. Rest in peace to a real one, a moment of silence.
Just remember, hang in there.
But before he bites the dust, he gives Dylan a clue to a map he hid on the severed floor. A map that leads to the same mysterious hallway we see Miss Casey disappear into in Season 1. Oh, and Helly and Mark shared vessels, but it was actually Helena, which is all kinds of yucky. Don't worry, real Helly and Mark have their own vessel-sharing experience. In what is likely the most talked about episode of the season, Chikai Bardo, we see both Gemma and Mark's backstory, as well as witness Gemma living on the testing floor of Lumon.
Could I please get a break? Just for a little while.
But it's been 6 weeks.
I was just here.
The testing floor exists beneath the severed floor, where we see Gemma enter an array of rooms that are labeled with the names of Mark's previous MDR files. See what's happening? Don't worry, that's what we're here for. Each time Gemma enters a room, a different severed self is activated.
What room caused your hand to hurt?
Allentown.
She's forced to complete mundane tasks or endure painful experiences without her outie Gemma having any recollection of what took place behind the door. We learn that Cold Harbor is the final room she has yet to experience.
Cold Harbor.
So what happens once I've been in all the rooms?
Yada yada yada, Dylan's wife cheats on him with his innie, Bert and Irving meet as outies but can't be together, former floor manager Miss Cobell invented Severance. Alright, we should probably back up a little.
Mine! My designs! Circuit blueprint, base code, overtime contingency, Glasgow block, all of it!
But we have too much to get to. This train does not stop. Nope, not even that one. In the penultimate episode, Cobell unites with Mark to help him rescue Gemma, as we presume her vendetta against Lumon for stealing her invention has finally come to a head. She explains to him that once the Cold Harbor file is complete, Gemma will be dead.
She's alive.
The finale. Now that we've addressed the broad, or should we say macro, strokes of the story, let's finally get into the season finale, shall we? The episode picks up right where the previous had left off. We see Innie Mark in the birthing cabin with his sister Devin and Cobell. The cabin has the ability to activate Mark's severance chip, as affluent Lumon-adjacent women utilize the procedure to avoid experiencing the pains of childbirth. Yeah, crazy. In an epic scene, Mark has a conversation with himself through a camcorder, but his outie is unsuccessful at convincing his innie that he's trustworthy enough to assist him in rescuing Gemma.
She's the person I'll lose if I do what you say, because you know as well as I do that her outie won't, reintegrate. Assuming that's even real.
Innie Mark fears that once he's helped his outie, he's as good as dead. And he's not totally wrong. Cobell steps in to tell his innie the details of his work in MDR. Finally.
The numbers are your way. The MDR numbers.
As many had inferred, the numbers that Mark refines are actually Gemma's tempers, or emotions. And each file completed equals one new innie for Gemma, Again, this tracks with what we've learned thus far, but now Mark must decide if he can believe this information or not as he returns to work.
Reintegration is your only chance!
Do you love your brother?
Mark!
Yes.
Well, then you tell him that the next thing I see had better be the severed floor, or I swear he will never see his wife again.
Back at the office, Helly has a bizarre encounter with her father, James, who essentially tells her he loves her more than he loves Helena.
I do not love my daughter. I used to see care in her, but he left her as she grew.
Okay. We don't fully see the repercussions of this conversation, so we can only assume Season 3 will further explore this dynamic. Mark comes back to Lumon, still unsure of how to approach the end of Cold Harbor. Just a quick moment of appreciation for the exalted victory of Cold Harbor painting. We want that hung up in our office. Wait, never mind, taking that back immediately. Mark and Helly exchange information, and in a heartbreaking moment, Helly convinces Mark to sacrifice their budding relationship to save Gemma and support his Audi.
At least you'll have a chance at living.
Yeah, but I want to live with you.
He tearfully finishes Cold Harbor and is rewarded with a massive marching band performance. We're so sorry, we know we're supposed to explain the finale, but we need to just watch Milchick body roll for a second. Maybe a few more seconds. Okay, we can move on now. Helly manages to trap Milchick in the bathroom with the help of Dylan. Dylan returns to MDR, though having requested to resign in the episode prior after having been rejected by his own wife. Ouch. His Audi writes him a sweet letter expressing that he wants to be more like the man his innie self has become, and gives Villain the choice to stay or go, bolstering his confidence.
I hope someday she sees in me what she sees in you.
In the midst of the diversion, Mark uses Irving's map to locate the testing floor elevator. But just behind an opposing door, Lumon grunt Mr. Drummond is about to force Lauren from Amalian's Nurturable to sacrifice one of her goats, Emil.
This beast will be entombed with a cherished woman, whose spirit it must guide to Kyr's door. Is it up to the task?
It is.
We had been introduced to the goats in Season 1, and they still remain a bit of a mystery. But during this scene, we learn that there is a connection between the testing floor and the purpose of the goats. Drummond implies that a chip will be implanted into Emil, which we can infer is Gemma's, and that he will somehow retain her consciousness.
How many more must I get?
As many as the founder calls.
However, this is interrupted by Mark's attempt to break into the testing floor elevator, and in an unexpected fight scene, Drummond beats the daylights out of him. Lauren emerges, wails on him, and threatens to shoot Drummond. Mark instead convinces her to let him use Drummond to guide him to Gemma, and Lauren obliges and thanks him for saving Emil.
Emil thanks you.
We needed that. We would have killed for that sweet little guy too. Mark makes his way down, but arrives as his Audi and accidentally shoots Drummond in the process. He finds his way to Gemma in the Cold Harbor room, who is being tasked with disassembling the crib we see Mark attempt to build in Chikai Bardo. You may be wondering, what is being tested here and why is this the final room? Based on everything we've seen, Cold Harbor is the true test of the entire multi-severance process. The crib represents her most painful experience of losing her child, and I'll Be Seeing You is a musical motif that signifies her relationship with Mark. Not to mention, her outfit is identical to that of what she was wearing the night she was kidnapped by Lumon. If these vestiges don't trigger Gemma, what will?
It's okay. It's me.
Mark recovers Gemma, much to the dismay of James and the creepo Dr. Mauer.
Don't speak to that man. He's here to hurt you.
And if you come with me right now, we can get it back.
No.
In 4 scenes of quick succession, we see Mark and Gemma in all different dynamics of their innie and outie selves. At first, Mark recognizes Gemma, but she has no idea who he is, and trusts him nonetheless. Then after 2 seasons of waiting, we witness Mark and Gemma as their outie selves reuniting once and for all. But like, they gotta run.
Oh, come on.
Once they make it up the elevator, they're both innies again. Which is sad, but objectively kind of hilarious, and also we missed Miss Casey desperately.
What's taking place?
In the final moments of the episode, innie Mark sends Gemma out to the hallway, turning her into her outie self. But right before he escapes with her, Helly calls out for him, while Gemma pleads.
Mark, come on! Mark!
He must make the impossible choice between the life he's lived and the life he may never get to have. But alas, he chooses Helly, and the two run off together into the hallway.
Like the circles that you find in the windmills of your mind.
Where they go, we suppose only time will tell. Sadly, love may not transcend Severance after all. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. This ending further investigated the deep disparities that exist between the innie and outie selves, as both characters develop parallel to and in contrast with one another.
They give us half a life and think we won't fight for it.
The lack of agency that the innies experience has consistently manifested itself in the form of multiple major rebellions, and yet somehow they still go completely unheard. Mark having to potentially sacrifice himself and all of his memories for the man who selfishly brought him into existence in the first place was ultimately too much to ask. Though we can only imagine the hell our team will be put through in the next season, we can't help but root for the underdog innies to salvage their existences against all odds.
See you at the equator.
See you at the equator.
So what do you think is next for Helly and Mark and the MDR team at large? Did Gemma successfully escape, or will she be captured once more? More importantly, will we ever see Mr. Milchick dance again? Let us know all of your thoughts in the comments.
Thank you for that feedback, Seth.
Thank you, Kier.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.